What's going on, guys? Today we're going to put a video out. We've been threatening to do this for quite a while now. We've planned an event for about 10 and a half weeks time. We've spoken to you a little bit about it on our platforms, and I think today is the day we finally actually just speak about why we're doing what we're doing. We're going to speak about the event itself and some of the intricacies and some administrative stuff there. We're going to speak a bit about what it sort of means to us, and then some more practical stuff towards the end of the video, and we'll follow it on from there.
Yeah. So for both Mike and I, exercise and training and health has been such a big part of our lives pretty much since we were born, from our families and the way we've been raised and the way we've kind of approached life. And so being able to share training over the last couple of months together has been an amazing journey, I think, for both of us. And what has been quite new has been training related to triathlon, so triathlon training. And that's been an exciting journey for both of us to tackle. And Mike did his Ironman earlier this year, which was amazing for me to be a part of as part of his support crew and filming. And we discussed doing an event together and what that would kind of look like. But the kinds of people that we are is usually we try and focus on being very intentional and meaning driven with everything that we do. So we thought a lot about what does training and what does this kind of event mean to us, and that's kind of where we would like to start with this. So for us, there are a couple of things that are important with why we do this, why we choose to take this kind of event on. And the first thing is that in a year like this, where we're both doing our masters, which is very challenging, we have a lot on our plate, we're enjoying it a lot, but it's a busy year. We choose to be challenged in all the parts of our lives, but there's also a lot of mental health and mental challenges that we face. And sharing and exercising and a healthy lifestyle is a great way of dealing with that and being able to be healthy, feel like you're making progress and ticking things off, all of that, and sharing that with other people, like us talking about this stuff together, and building good habits together has a really good mental health impact on our lives. Attached to that is also just the physical health of training has made me feel really good. I think that's like a very significant reason behind training. And then another part, I think, is purpose. So having this kind of an event that we look forward to, that we plan for, that we tie into our journey of training, makes it very purpose driven. And so when we have a hard training session or a hard day of studying, we know that there's meaning behind what we're doing. And I think that's also a very important part of mental health, is feeling like there's purpose in your life. And doing stuff with intention and purpose has been really a big part of planning for and training for this event. And I think the last thing that I want to mention, something that we spend a lot of time unpacking for ourselves, is this idea of suffering and having the privilege to go and suffer in a circumstance like this, where we're young, abled master's students with a little bit of time, but we make time to say what is important to us, and we can choose to go and push ourselves and see what are we physically, mentally and emotionally capable of, and to try and see what those limits are for ourselves. And within that is physical and mental suffering, but that's kind of the privilege of being able to put ourselves in those environments. And I expect, and what I want from this is to see how much of that I can curate, and within those moments, what can I take from that in a moment of extreme suffering or exertion. What is it that I find in that moment, and what is it then doing it together? What is it that we find there that we can cling to and take from this event? I think that's an incredible privilege, and that's something that we're really looking forward to with this.
I think that's probably one of the most important parts. So I think we've spoken about that a lot, and this flows actually really nicely into what the actual event is. We'll get there in a sec. So what we said was, well, what are the hardest possible things we could do? Sticking to this for some reason or other, I think this attraction to triathlon type training, and also to ultra marathon or ultra triathlon type training, what are the hardest possible events that we could sort of do that would fit that type of training and then fit that type of event? And there were a few things that we looked at, and some of them landed up being more formal sort of events, and we found ourselves stuck between choosing to do an event and committing to that, and then worrying a little bit about our academics, which is actually first and foremost, or the most important thing this year. And also, I think we've had a few conversations about this. It takes away from it being our own journey and the way that we interact with it in terms of our own identity and our own purpose, and the event being something else. And we find ourselves moving away from something that was sort of more formal and more structured and designed by someone else, and moving towards something that we could sort of create ourselves, for ourselves, that was unique to the place that we're at in our lives. And then we thought about it quite a lot, and then one day over WhatsApp, then we were just toying around, and I said, well, what are the 3 most iconic things we could do in the Cape? And we went back and forth a bit, and we said, well, the most iconic and one of the hardest swims is definitely the Freedom Swim. So from Robben Island to Big Bay. I'm like, that seems like a pretty good place to start. And then the most iconic cycle by far is the Cape Argus. It's now called the Cape Cycle Tour. And then a run that we've been quite interested in for quite a while is the 13 Peaks. So, and those are for us, those are things we've looked at separately. And then we said, well, imagine how incredible it would be if somehow we could do those things back to back in one individual sort of event. So being a bit more practical, what that looks like is a 7.4k swim, then cycling to the start of the Argus along the different cycle routes there, and then doing the entire tour, which will obviously be supported for safety and that sort of thing, and then finishing where we started, obviously, for those of you that know the route, and then cycling to the start of Signal Hill, and then doing the 13 Peaks. So that would be 7.4k swim, 138 k's give or take with the transitions and the cycle, and then 108 k's give or take for the I don't even know what you call it, the run / hike / climb.
So yeah, just when we chatted on that the first time on WhatsApp, it was kind of like, yo, how amazing would this be? Ha ha ha. Like, am I joking? No, I'm not joking. Let's do this.
Yo, we have to find 3 really good days. No. We're gonna just do it back to back. Yeah. And yeah, so that's the event that we've sort of come up with, and we're really excited about it. There's obviously a lot that's been going into it, so something that I'll speak about at the end, but something that I preface with now before Zans takes over, is that this is something we've been training for quite a while. But we've been like solidifying and planning some things, and we thought that we needed to put out a video about it. And I think on that note, maybe take us through some of the admin.
So we now have 10 weeks and 4 days until the proposed date for the event, which is the 3rd of December. Which, give and take, there's a small range there due to just logistical reasons. But that means we're about 10 weeks out from the event, and obviously there's a lot of training and stuff that very specific that will go into these last 10 weeks that we'll update you on probably in future videos. But if people want to know more about that or have comments or questions about how we're tackling that, please do ask us. We think and talk about this way too much, so we'd love to give more information about it and hear what people have to say about that. So that's going to be a major feature for us over the next 2.5 weeks, is emphasis on training and nutrition and sleep and things like that. We're also setting up some sponsorship things for the day, which is, I think, going to be really exciting. The purpose and the event is really important to us, so we want to try and delve into that as much as we can using sponsorships as well. And then we hope to share this journey with our friends and anyone who wants to be a part of it as much as possible. So something that we want to also be doing is encouraging anyone to come and run 5Ks with us on a Sunday, and potentially to come and do small segments of the event with us, because we think that not only is this an event that is close to our hearts, but it's something that, you know, it's not just about us. It's about that purpose, and it's about sharing that with as many people as possible. So that's kind of just in a brief way what the next 10.5 weeks is going to look like for us, and hopefully we'll engage a lot more with you online, and also some people will come and join us for some sessions and stuff like that.
And I think that's really important. So if you go back to what Zan said originally in the beginning of the video, it's worth emphasizing, and this I will sort of round the video off, is there's 3 main reasons that we've decided to do this. So we haven't decided to do this because we're pro runners or pro cyclists or pro swimmers. We've decided to do this because it's good for our mental health and our routine, and it's given us this purpose in terms of dedicating a portion of our lives to this specific thing that we believe will make us better, and that we also believe will be able to, that our friends will be able to maybe engage with and maybe learn some things from. In previous videos, we've actually both spoken, especially in the Ironman stuff, about the interactions and how these things indirectly lead to other outcomes. And that's the part of this journey that I think is really important to us. So we're not, like I said, we're not doing 13 peaks, for example, because we've done it before and we're ready to run the fastest time possible. And we're not going into it blindly either, thinking that it's going to be easy. The whole idea is that it's going to be extremely hard at every part of this journey, and that we're meant to fail at every single transition and at every point. And that's what's interesting about it for us. We're there not to try and be the best cyclist or swimmer or runner as possible. We're there to challenge our physical and even more so our mental limitations through this specific thing that we've constructed, that we think is the best event to do that. So I think with that being said, we're going to interact quite a bit over the next few weeks, and we're really excited that we've sort of made this a bit more public now. It definitely makes it a bit more scary. We definitely come back now, which is good in terms of some sort of commitment device.
All of this, is about also that, like, a lot of this is about tackling and facing some kind of challenge and fear, and speaking this out into social media is a bit of a scary thing in and of itself, right? We can fail, and now people know we can fail, but that in and of itself gives this some kind of challenge and purpose, which I think is cool.
Yeah, exactly that. And if we're gonna back out, we definitely can't now. So yeah, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. We're gonna be speaking a lot over the next 10.5 weeks, and we really look forward to interacting with you guys more. Cheers.